All right, let's finish up our final script and let's finish up our final project here. So what we need to do is delete our void update because we're not going to need it. And then we're going to replace that with public void enemy killed, and then open close parentheses. We're going to say enemies killed plus plus, and then we're going to say if enemies killed equals to enemies to spawn. That is if we've killed all the enemies that we want to spawn in a given wave. We're then going to start coroutine, start next wave. And you're probably seeing a pattern here. We want to start a wave at the beginning and then start a wave every time we hit our target number of kills. We're going to add a little space after that and say I enumerator start next wave. So now we have a coroutine that we're calling in those two lines there. And we're going to start with a yield return new wait 4 seconds 10f. Or actually, we can actually just do wave delay here. That's the reason we got that variable after all. Now what we can do is say current wave plus plus. That's going to add 1 to our current wave value. We're going to set enemies spawned equal, or spawned equal to 0. We're going to set enemies killed equal to 0. We're going to set our wave text.text equal to current wave.toString. Open and close parentheses there. We're going to say enemies to spawn is equal to current wave. So the value of our current wave, we're going to multiply that by 2, and then we're going to add 4. And the reason for that is on wave 1, we don't only want to spawn 1 enemy. We want to give them a little bit to fight against. And even on wave 2, 4 enemies isn't that much. 8 enemies is a much better place to start. But we want to make sure we're giving, you know, a fair number of enemies in each wave, especially when you get into the higher waves. Next up, we say pc.addHealth. And we're going to set that equal to 100 minus pc.health. So we're going to, after each wave, we're going to set the player's health back to 100. And by subtracting their current health from 100, we're going to know how much health we need to add. We also want to say wavestart.setActive is true. So we're going to turn on our wavestart text object that we made earlier. Then we're going to start coroutine spawn enemies, which is what we're going to write next. Finally, we're going to write yield return new wait for second, and then wait for end of frame, wait for seconds. We're going to give this a 2-second delay before we turn our wave start text object back off by setting active equal to false. And then the last bit of code we need to add here is I enumerator, one more coroutine. And we're going to call this one spawn enemies, right there. And we're going to say while enemies spawned is less than enemies to spawn. Oops. We're going to add our open and close bracket here. We're going to say yield return new wait for seconds spawn delay semicolon. Then we're going to say game object go equals to instantiate, and of course go stands for game object. Instantiate game object, and we're going to say enemy prefabs. And just like we've done for random assignments before, we're going to, again, in the square bracket, going to say random.range 0 to enemy prefabs.length, and have our parentheses, square bracket, parentheses at the end of that. We're then going to say transform spawn trans is equal to spawn locations random.range 0 to spawn locations.length, same as above, but with a different variable there. And then we're going to say go.transform.position is equal to spawn trans or not spawn locations, but spawn trans dot position. So we're going to set our spawned enemy's location to that of the randomly selected spawn transform, and then we're going to say enemy spawned plus plus, and that's going to tick up, and that way we know that when we've hit their enemies to spawn, we will stop running this coroutine. So great, now we've got all the code we need in our game manager here, and now we just need to assign the appropriate values to that. So we're going to open the editor back up. We're going to start by dragging our player into the player transform, and then we're going to grab that wave, the wave numbers, not wave text, a little misleading. We want wave numbers. We're going to drag that into wave text, and then wave start we're going to drag into wave start. Now what we can do is fill out our enemy prefabs. So we have 3 different types of enemies. We're going to drag each prefab in. We're going to say crawler, wasp, and rocktopus, just like that. And then we actually need to create 5 transforms for us to spawn our enemies at. So we're going to hit 5 here. And then what we're going to do is underneath our game manager, we're going to right click it and click create empty. And then we're going to select this object here that says game object, and we're going to duplicate it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So we should end up with game object 4 down here. And then we're going to select them all by clicking the top game object and then holding shift and clicking the bottom object. And we're going to rename them all to spawner, just so we know where they're at. And then what we want to do now is actually select all of them again and click this little box here, and we're going to give them this blue top circle here. What that's going to do is make them visual or make them able to be seen visually in the scene, whereas normally these things are invisible if I turn it back off. So we're going to have that nice blue color on them. And what we need to do is move these spawners into these arms of the cave. So I'm going to move one. You want to get it pretty close to where this light, this nice light thing is here. So I'm going to move it just like that. That looks good for that one. We'll do this one next. Move it over here. There we go. Get it a little bit more centered. Perfect. Next one. Move it down and over here to where this cave branch is. There we go. 2 more to do. Oops. Drag this all the way over here. Oops. Just like that. And last one comes into this hallway down here, this cave, I should say. There we go, perfect. So we've got our spawners all in the right locations. What we need to do now is, it doesn't matter the order here, we just need to make sure we drag each spawner in individually, just so we can make sure those are all selected. And we can make sure if we click through each one, we should see each one be highlighted over here to the left. If you see 2 of them using the same one, just make sure you swap it out so that all 5 are represented here. So now we've got all of those guys set up. We've got our prefabs here. If we go ahead and delete the 3 enemies that we've spawned ourselves at the bottom, and make sure our game manager's on and in the scene and everything's ready to go, if we hit play, we should find, yep, our points are updated properly. Let's grab a gun. Oh, I thought we were going to get the grenade launcher there for a second. That would have been cool. We unlock the shotgun. Our wave is starting. And now we should see enemies coming. The first one. Got him down. Take that guy out. So these 3 are in the same hole. There we go. That's him. And cool. That's all 3 of them dead. And I've got 30 points for that one. Now we've got that 10-second delay until the next wave starts, so I've got a second to collect my thoughts here. Give it a second. Looks like for some reason our next wave is not starting, so let's take a look as to why that might be. We do have an error in the console, but I have a feeling that's going to be the same one. Yep, we can ignore that one. 10 seconds has definitely passed, so we know that we're right there. Oh, I just remembered what it is. We need to go back into our enemy controller and add a line to tell our game manager that we've killed an enemy. So in our onDeath method here in the enemy controller, what we want to do is anywhere inside this, we want to say game manager.instance.on, or what is it, enemy killed, yep, and open and close parentheses and semicolon. And now whenever we kill an enemy, it's going to increase that internal counter on our game manager and hopefully start the next wave. So let's try again. We'll test this one more time. But that should do it. We should be able to advance to the next wave now. So let's see. I press E. Yes, I got the grenade launcher. Okay, that's what I was hoping for. All right, we'll give these guys a second to spawn in here. See where they're coming from. There's one. Oh, we'll get them by the barrel here. See if I can clump them all up on the barrel. Ooh, I got a bunch of them. All right, kill these 2 guys. Perfect. Okay. So now we'll get that 2-second delay or 10-second delay here and see if wave 2 starts for us. There we go. Now wave 2 starts. We're going to get more and more enemies. Yep, here they come. And of course, I have all of the enemies' points set to 5 per kill, but you are now welcome to change any of those values to what you see fit. So if you go to the enemies prefabs in the enemy folder and go down to the enemy controller, you can adjust the points on death to be more or less depending on what you want. So if you want every kill to give 100 points, so you can use the mystery chest every time you kill an enemy, then go right ahead. That's totally fine. You guys play with this stuff. This is your game after all, and you are officially complete. Now, if you want to go through the bonus steps, that's great, but you have reached the end of our core steps, so thanks for coming. I hope you choose to do the bonus steps, but if not, I understand. This is a great project, and I hope you had fun.